Morning. Okay, great. So if by chance you unmuted yourselves, please mute yourselves. I'm going to try it one more time. Okay, well, let's see what happens. All right. So if you're just coming, you mute yourself as you come in. Good Saturday morning. Charlene, I'm teaching the class today, and to my right, your left, is Shelley, who is a wonderful, beautiful yogi student and is happy to be on the camera. So if I'm getting up and around and walking around the room offering assistance to other students, then you need a visual, pretty damn good visual. Shelley will be that person for you. So if you need to see, and then I get to say, oh, Shelley, you want to do side plank and show everybody your side plank today, right? I forgot to ask you, how's your side? You're okay with side plank? Okay, good. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we get to it. Anyway, take good care of yourselves. And let's begin. We begin by settling, coming into a comfortable cross-legged position, sitting on pillows or blankets or blocks, some kind of a lift to give yourself some support. You know, many of us here in the States, in New York, we just woke up, you know. So this is maybe our first opportunity to sit on the floor, to start to take stock of our bodies and where we are right now. Those of you who've had most of your day, maybe it's an opportunity to reflect on where you were and where you are right now. So as we sit and settle, we notice, we breathe. As we sit, settle, notice, and breathe, perhaps we begin to feel any body stuff, right? Maybe any stiffness, any little dings that we might be walking in with. We notice not only the muscular tension and the joints, but maybe any heart stuff, right? Any joy, any sadness. And the breath kind of is the truth teller, in my opinion. When I'm settled and things are pretty okay for me, I feel the breath easeful in and out. But if I'm feeling a little anxious, a little uncertain, a little stressed, the breath can be a little bit laborious, right? So it might labor a little bit more to breathe. And also just waking up, you know, just warming up the body. So notice your breath now. And let's bring our full awareness to the breath. And just allow all the other sensations to kind of be in the room with the breath, right? Without having to focus in on it. Allowing the breath to be the healer, the nurturer, the mother, the father, the protector. And we know the mechanics of the breath. So the diaphragm muscle is the breathing muscle, the intercostal muscles, the rib cage, the lungs, the nostrils, the belly. the breath and the heart really pump and move the blood through us. So maybe you can even feel the breath in your toes, in your fingers. So now direct the breath to those body parts, right? Whether it be the joints or the muscles or the organs. Where do you need a gentle touch, a mother's hand, a father's connection, a friend's support? Now, once again, just coming back to the breath and the mechanics of the breath, and give yourselves permission to exhale longer than the inhale. So imagine you're breathing in and you're counting maybe 3 or 4 or 5 on the inhalation, getting nice and full, feeling that expansion. And then on the exhalation, double the number as you breathe out. So it becomes a little bit more challenging, right? You really need to use the belly, squeeze the breath out, hold that breath out before you breathe in again. So another benefit of the breath is it's a cleansing, a purification. So as we exhale, when we let that breath go, we're breathing out toxins, impurities, negativity. When we breathe in, we're breathing in new beginnings, new possibilities, fuel for the body. And we'll sit with Dirga pranayama, the elongated breath, for about 2 or 3 more rounds with the extended exhalation. And when you complete your 3rd long exhale, just let your chin come down to your chest, so I'll know you're done. But keep breathing, of course. Don't hold your breath here. And it can be a soft breath, just an easeful breath. And of course, we begin to notice the back of the neck, maybe the whole spine down to your tailbone. And then with your next exhalation, now that we're all here, let's just spill forward. Bring your hands down as you spill your head down toward the floor. Shake your head no and yes and maybe. And then reach your arms out, reach out, shake your head. And then walk on over toward your right leg. Bring your left arm with you, nose toward that knee. Breathe in, breathe out. And then we'll come on over to the other side. So this is our little kind of self-analysis, a little test on where we are today in our bodies. We come back to center. Let's slowly unfurl. And as we unfurl, we're going to lean back on the hands. And before we lift our legs, let's just press into the hands. Spread your collarbones, open up, look up toward the sky, a little heart opener here, opening the front body. And then lift your gaze, look forward again. Fingertips are on the floor now just to support. And now lift your shins. Your front ankle, your top ankle is there. We're going to do our Navasana, going to start to awaken and kick in the core. So those of us that are coming in with some lower back issues, right? That was a request for today. Let's deal with the lower back a little. So kicking in the core is one good way to start to support that lower back. And then let's change the crossings of the shins, right? So pretty much this is our least favored side. We always start with our habitual side, and we practice to balance the body. So here we go. Let's come down again. And notice the difference. Maybe it's a little awkward. It feels a little funny. Reach out just a little bit more with each hand. Let your head go. And then walk on over towards your right. Bring your left arm with you, nose toward that knee. Breathe in, breathe out. And then find your way over to the other side, coming on over toward that left knee. And again, breathe in, breathe out. You can feel free to move your head or neck. And then we'll come back through center. And then very slowly again, unfurl. Come on back, reach your fingertips to the floor. Or maybe if you want to go a little bit fuller, you can bring the palms down, press down into your hands and open your chest. Think about drawing a big arcing line with the front of your body up toward the ceiling. Breathe in, breathe out. Open the throat. Maybe we'll do a dragon breath or two here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let me hear you. Good. And then come up to vertical. And here we go. We're going to do another Navasana. So your top ankle is crossed over your under ankle. I love it. It's like a little shelf. It's a little support here. And then we can spread our wings open. Breathe in, breathe out. Do what you want to do with your arms. Yeah, you don't have to do anything with your arms if it feels kind of corny. What?
Nothing, I just laughed.
You're laughing? I'm funny. Oh my God. And shake it out. Yeah. All right. Little leg bangers here. So we have choices to make, right? And I'm leaving the choices up to you. We're sitting, we're standing, we're kneeling, we're reclining, we're side lying.
So we have to pick.
You have to pick one. Standing? Okay. You want to stand? Okay. So we're going to stand. So we have to transition. Ooh, did you feel all those? Did you feel all that energy coming at you, my love? So it's a little challenging when somebody picks something and then people are like, no, but they didn't speak up. So, okay. So first we have to take our socks off, right? Because we're going to stand. We want to feel the earth. Then we have to come around onto all fours because we have to do a little transition to standing. So we are going to kneel for a few moments. But we're going to definitely get up on our feet pretty quick. Okay, so hands and knees. Now I saw some chat come in and it went away, and I'm afraid that if I touch the Zoom, I'll cancel it or do something. So I'm just trusting that maybe somebody also requested a standing pose, standing posture. So here we are in our tabletop primitive. What's that? Say it again.
They requested sitting. Yeah. Someone requested to sit.
Oh, they requested sit. Oh, sit. Okay. Well, they're going to get sitting in a little while, maybe in about an hour from now, but we're going to do it. Don't you worry. We'll get to it. I promise. So taking a breath, and let's do a couple of cats and dogs. So exhale, draw the belly in, drop the tail, look down between your knees, let your head go. Really shake your head a little bit. And then inhale, flip your tail, spread your collarbones, crown of the head, reach up toward the ceiling. Exhale, round into your cat. So we're going to do about 4 or 5 cats and dogs. Keep it going. Keep breathing in and breathing out. And what I'm loving that I'm seeing is I see perfectly aligned wrists under shoulders and beautifully lengthened spines, right? So we're taking our time here. We're doing another little assessment. And I realize that I'm very excited today because I'm anticipating what's coming. We're having a visitation after class today. So you have to stay on Zoom. You have to stay in present. Yeah, Mr. T's coming all by himself. And now the next time you inhale, tuck your toes under. And for those of you who don't know who Mr. T is, it's our 2-year-old standard poodle who's coming to visit. Exhale, round into your cat. Keep your toes tucked under and invert, coming into your first down dog for the class. Let your head go. And then keeping your legs straight, right? Because we're going to get ready to stand. So we want to open up the legs a little bit. just wiggle your hips, let your head go down. So straight leg wiggles. You're going to lift your left hip up. You're going to drop it. You're going to lift your right hip up. And now let's turn our head to look out underneath each armpit. So you're turning, lifting and twisting, and then bring that to a pause for a moment and walk your right foot in just a little bit so you can drop your right heel down here and then press that heel down and press the back of your leg or the back of the room. Let's see you. Good. Big stretch for the calf and the ankle. Yes. And let's step that foot back and bring the other foot. So that would be the left foot. Drop that foot down, drop the heel and press back through that calf. Let your head go. Nice. And then let your knees come down onto your mat, onto your blanket. And if it's okay for your knees, come to sit back on your shins. Now, if it's not okay for your knees, one great little prop would be to put a block between your ankles and sit on the block, and it lifts you up a little bit. Good. And again, we're just going to be here for just a moment. I'll face the camera. You can see the side view from Shelley. And we're going to take the right hand down and lift the left arm up. So we're stretching the tops of the thighs here, which is really helpful for lower backs. I'm going to lean over, good. Now let the left ribs pull back a little bit and look up toward your left bicep muscle, right? Breathe in, breathe out, and then find your way up. And you're going to rock your sit bones toward your right a little, and then bring your left hand, and then here we go. We're going to tip over. And imagine that your back, spine, especially your shoulders, both shoulder blades, are touching the wall behind you. So you're really kind of level. Nice. And shoot that right arm out to the left. And then bring it on up. Okay, if you can stand being on your shins for another moment, we're going to twist. You okay? Okay. So take your left hand, and if you can reach for the top of your shin, fine. But another great place to do it, if you can't, is to take your fingers between your thigh and your calf, the back of your thigh and your calf. And now we're going to take the right arm forward. And we're going to do a big circle. So we're going to lift that right arm up, follow it. So look at that hand, follow it as it reaches back behind you. You're going to touch the wall behind you, but pause, right? So keep looking back. So use your left arm. So try not to lean onto the left side. So Lori, take a look at me. So instead of going this way, go this way, go toward that arm that's reaching. Now wrap that right arm around your waist. If you can touch your right thigh, left thigh, go ahead. I can't. And then prop yourself up a little bit taller. Peel your right collarbone open and look back toward the back of the room just a little bit more. You're using your left arm against that thigh to get some leverage here. Breathe in, breathe out. So now we take that breath that we did at the beginning and we're bringing it into each pose, and we're really challenging all of the muscles that are keeping us resisting the breath here, right? So you just want to breathe into that resistance. And then you can come back out the way we went back in. So release that arm back behind you, look at the thumb, look at the hand, and let it swing up, follow it as it comes forward. And then just for fun, let's do the crossover. So we're going to cross that right wrist, that right forearm over the left. And hey, we're here already, might as well do this. See, nothing's ever a minute for me. It's about 20 minutes or a half hour. So bring the back of your hands together. We're just going to stand, I promise. Lift your elbows. Lift your elbows. Good. And then let's release that. So you're going to take your right hand on the outside of, or in between your thigh and your whatever, your calf, or down to your shin, and release that left arm out. You're going to follow it as it swings up and around. Keep looking back. So we're kind of moving toward that arm, right? We're not pulling the right shoulder back, but letting it go forward. Now rotate that palm and then bring the back of your hand on to your spine. Maybe you reach for your right thigh and keep looking back, using your left hand to really draw you into this twist. Another breath. Let me see you guys. Gorgeous. Breathe in, breathe out. Even though it's hard to breathe, keep breathing. And now, once again, we're going to release this arm, and you can lift it up, follow it back. We'll do the crossover. So you're crossing your left over your right. Lift the arms, bring the backs of the hands together. If you go into eagle, that's fine. Maybe too early for some of us. And then gently release, shake it out. And once again, come forward onto hands and knees. We're going to come into down dog for real this time. The first one was a little bit of a warm up. So let each hand walk forward. Tuck your toes under. Before we come up, let's go down. So come forward, tuck your tail a little, come forward, let your pelvis hang. Look up, spread your collarbones, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel, right? So if you're supporting your lower back, you really want to lift everything internally. And now draw your hips back, toes are tucked under, and here we go. We're going to come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We'll be here for a breath or two. Do any warm-up movements that you enjoy here. We see you. Good. Nice. And then it'll be your choice. Are you going to walk your feet up towards your hands, or are you going to walk your hands back towards your feet? Whichever way you go, you'll end up on your feet, right? In forward bend, Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Let your head hang. Bring your weight a little bit back over the heels and notice what that feels like. Bring your weight a little bit forward over the balls of the feet and the toes and notice what that feels like. And then see about just lifting your arches as you press your toes into the floor. Strong, straight legs, lift the quadricep muscles. Now we're going to hinge up. So bring your hands to your hips, draw your tummy in, press down into the floor through your feet, and start to lift your torso. You're going to hover here for a breath, and then finish and hinge all the way up to standing. Nice. So thank you, everybody. Come to the front of your sticky mat. And really nice way to build heat for our standing. Just standing in itself begins to build heat, but we'll do some half sun salutations, maybe step into a full sun salutation. So if you are somebody who needs a block for your lunge, have blocks by your feet. So Maria, bring your blocks to the front of your feet. Anybody need blocks that don't have blocks? Okay. They're here if you need. Okay, so let's begin. Bring your hands to prayer pose, namaste. So for me, yoga is a mindfulness practice. And when I practice yoga, which is pretty much all day long in some form or another, I want to notice where my feet are, where my body is in space, what's engaged, what's disengaged, what needs to be engaged, what needs to maybe not work so hard. So begin to find your balance here. On your inhalation, let the arms drop down, gather up, and as you gather, you'll look up toward your fingers, and then exhale, you'll swan dive forward. Bending the knees is fine. Inhale, bring your hands onto your shins or knees or thighs, come up halfway. Exhale, release down, strong legs. Even if the knees are bent, reach out to come up. Exhale, hands to your heart. And you'll continue half sun salutations. Breathing in and breathing out. Remember, Shelly's there if you need a little visual, a little reminder of what the scenario is, right? The choreography, beautiful. Strong leg, strong pelvic floor, strong navel, strong legs, strong will, strong breath, Beautiful. Keep it going. When you are doing your half sun salutation on the swan dive down, the halfway up, and then the swan dive back up, you want to find a long extended spine, not a rounded spine. So there's a need to hinge forward. Beautiful, Judith, thank you, to find that extended spine. So let's do a couple more. That's it, Noah, you got it. Let's do a couple more. See you guys at home. Yeah, good. Good morning, Marianne. Nice to see you. Good. Beautiful. So feel the heat building. This is really a full body warm up, right? We're warming the front body, the back body, even the side body. So when you extend out, you can feel the length through the side body. Great. Just think about coming forward over the balls of the feet a little bit more in your forward bend. Another breath. Okay, let's do one more half sun salutation. There you go. Now maintain that as you come up, a little different. Ouch. In a good way, I hope. Exhale, hands to your heart. Nice. And then you're just going to come up and stand and feel for a moment. Good. And release. Okay. So the other night, I was teaching my my Tuesday evening class, which, by the way, has been gentle. It's called the gentle class, but I always get the look, like, what's gentle about this class? So I decided, you know what? Instead of getting that look every week, let's just change the level of the class. So it's going to be a level 1 beginners gentle welcome. Okay, how's that? So we're going to up the ante a little bit. So one of the things that we did in the class was I was preparing the legs for standing, for doing some warrior poses and different things like that, and I wanted to get the hips open. So we did this thing that Jane, who's on the Zoom, does with us. She's my personal trainer and she helps me and all that stuff, especially get my hips going. And so we did this. It was just crazy. It was crazy in a good way. So just watch for a minute. I'm going to do the side view and then I guess I have to do the front view. But we're going to start at the very edge of the short part of the mat. And I like to bend my knees a little bit and really feel the ground. And you don't have to do it because you might want to watch. And then the leg that's inside on the mat is going to lift up. So one foot is facing that way. And we're going to cross this leg. We're going to step over a barrel. This toe is going to turn out. And then we're both in like a plie, right? Okay. Second position, whatever it is. I'm not a ballerina. But now we got to schlep this leg back home. So we're going to lift that leg up and bring it back, right? So to me, this is like impossible. To you guys, yeah, okay, let's do it. So I hope it translates okay at home. So we're going to try it. You ready? Start with the right leg. Oh no, which way? You guys, everybody's going to the right. We're going to start with the left leg. So move over to the right side of your mat. You were right, Mitch. Yeah. So you're on the right side of your mat. Going to peel your left heel up and then step it over, bend your knees. We're going to step it over the barrel and bring it back. And let's go to the other side. We'll go from right to left. Oh, never mind. Oh, okay. I'm screwing it up. Let's just stay on one side. Come back to the right side. Zoom people, I know it's probably impossible. So hopefully you're getting some comic relief here, or you're just like scratching your head. I don't know. Okay, we're going to stay on the right side of your mat, lifting your left leg about a few times. And we're going to step it over. And then we're going to step it back over. And we're going to step it over. And we're going to step it back over. And while I'm doing it, I'm thanking Jane, because for the longest time, I could barely do this with my hip issue. And now it feels very much like home. We'll do 1 or 2 more. Really lift that leg on the way back. And how I know is because I forgot to lift mine. That's it, Lori. And then just finish up 1 more and pause. Catch your breath. I'm going to inch over to the other side. Okay?
Everybody moves at the same time.
Right. Right. It's the room. So lower back people, this is really good. Gotta get the hips moving, SI joint. Okay, we're gonna bend it a little bit, gonna step over and bend, and then step over. And I feel myself using a little momentum, which is fine, but I don't wanna lean too much on the grounded leg. I wanna really kind of keep it very steady. We don't want the knees to knock in, right? They wanna keep opening out. So do a couple more, as many as you think. Marta, different from the other night. Very nice. 1 or 2 more. Okay, and let's finish. Thank you. Jake, did you do that with Jane? Oh yeah, okay, that's why she was like, oh, she's a professional at that. All right, how'd you guys do on Zoom? Did it work? Did it work? Yeah, okay, great, thanks. Oh, right. Well, I told the story when you're gonna meet Toby in a little while. And when he was a little, nothing of a puppy, 8 weeks old, when we got him, we had like a pen. It was only 24 inches high, 2 feet. And I couldn't get my friggin' leg. And I'm like, I'm teaching yoga and I can't get, and I tripped. It was a whole fiasco. Okay, front of the mat. I always digress, it seems. Or progress or regress or keeping it real. We're gonna come into Virabhadrasana 1. So peel your right heel off the ground. Lift your right knee into your chest. Focus forward and step that right foot back, turn the toes out. Now, for some of us, that initial step is short. So I need everybody in the room to look at me and to look at my foot. So Maria, look at Shelly. See how her feet are more forward? So that back foot is not turned out. We're not doing what we just did. It's a little bit less. Good. Now, bring your chest to look forward. Bring your finger. Turn the toes. Good. There we go. And now inhale your arms up. Before we bend that front knee, so straighten that knee again, Shelly, thank you. Look up between your hands and arc back a little bit and keep pressing down into that back heel and press your right knee back. Gorgeous, Kim. And then on your next breath, now bend that front knee. And you can come up to more vertical if you choose and look forward. Breathe in. Now, keep your arms lifted, straighten that front leg. Let the arms come down and swing back behind you. Reach those arms back. You're not gonna, you're gonna hold it back just like that, Shell. And then hinge forward. Hinge, oh, you're right. Hinge forward over that front leg and just hover in Parsvottanasana variation. You got it. Good. And then swing your arms forward and come back up to standing. Open your chest, look up, look back, a little bit of a back bend here. Drop your tail. So there's a string, you literally have a string on your pubic bone and it's being pulled forward, tail dropping down, and bend that knee. Again, Virabhadrasana 1. Good, keep pressing that back heel back. Great. Straighten that front leg again. Come back a little bit. Now we're going to take the arms down, swing them back again. As you swing back, you're hinging forward. Now let the hands rest on your sacrum and bow down toward that front knee, Parsvottanasana. Now with your hands on your sacrum, can you feel your hips a little bit level? If not, try to draw that left hip back, that right hip forward a little bit. Now drop your fingertips toward the floor. Once again, reach them forward and hinge up. Hinge all the way up. And we're going to do one more Virabhadrasana 1. And we're going to hold this one. And in this one, you express yourselves. You bring yourself deeply into it as you bend that front knee, right? You're going to tame that back leg. Another breath. Anchor into, yeah, thank you. So I came by and you straighten that knee. Gorgeous, Mitch. That's gorgeous. Another breath. Now we need to come out of it. So once again, using the arms, this time the arms drop down and that front knee comes up into your chest. You're going to balance, and bring that foot down and just stand on the floor. Great. Okay, here we go. Other side. So peel your left heel off the ground. Float that knee, get steady, get focused. Know where you're going, because you're going to step that left foot back, turn the toes out slightly, heel on the ground. Don't let that back heel cross the front heel, and then look forward with your torso. Lift up nice and tall, reach the arms up, straight leg, and then arc back a little bit. The reason why I want you to arc back a little bit is because oftentimes I see folks don't really engage their back leg here. Now exhale, bend your front knee. You can come a little more vertical if you'd like. Inhale, straighten. Let the arms come back, swing behind you, come into your flat back as you extend out over that long leg. Deep hamstring stretch here. Now, can you feel the right hip drawing back and up a little bit? See if you can lift that sit bone up. Imagine my finger on your sit bone, lifting it. Now, release the arms forward, hinge back up. You can arc back a little bit, straight leg, and then bend the knee, Virabhadrasana 1 again. We're going to keep it moving. Another breath. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, swing your arms back. And then this time, you're going to reach forward over that leg, and then let your hands come back behind you. So you're resting on your sacrum, and then you can feel. So Rebecca, can you feel what I'm asking you to do a little bit? This is tipping a little bit. So yes. Yes, and you're not the only one, just so you know. It's a common thing. Beautiful pose, Judith. So level. Now, once again, we're going to reach the arms forward, hinge back up, and this time you're going to hang out in your Virabhadrasana 1 and just feel the beautiful, beautiful energy of this warrior pose. I always feel like Vira 1 is I guess a peaceful warrior or an inspirational warrior, that sense of looking up for inspiration, right? We look toward the light, toward the sky, toward a greater power. And then on your next breath, the arms will swing down and you'll step your back foot up, bring the knee into your chest and just hold it there for a breath. And let it come down. Beautiful work. How did that feel? Do you like Vira 1? Opening. Do you like Vira 1? I think it's great for the legs. I always feel the front of the thighs really working here. And you can feel the difference on your sides, right? Yeah. And we're going to feel the difference on our sides again when we come into Virabhadrasana 2. So we're going to do the 3 warrior poses today, right? We're going to do Vira 1, which we started with. And then we're going to do Virabhadrasana 2. And then we're going to see how we're going to weave our way into Virabhadrasana 3. I haven't formulated that yet. Okay. So we need to go the long way on our mat. So everybody in the room, look away from the windows, not because we don't want you to look out, but I think it's a little too bright. So open your feet wide. And what I like to say here is open your feet wider than you think you should, right? And sometimes people, thank you, Donna, take me very literally on that, and then they slide into a split. So you don't want to, you want to be wide enough to have control over your legs, but not so close that you can't really get into the full expression of the pose, right? So it's a delicate balance, and you can always feel free to move the back leg as needed. We're going to go to the right first. So Shelly, you're going to mirror, you're going to go to the, we're not going to mirror. So at home, it's going to look like the opposite of what you're doing. So lift your left heel a little bit first, and you're just going to turn that heel out just a drop. And this gives a little forgiveness of that left hip, right? So it lets the left hip move toward the right. Now we're going to swivel onto the heel of the right foot and turn the toes out toward the short end of your mat. Now you might notice that your torso is facing out in between. Our upper body, it's okay for our hips to face out in between, but the upper body wants to come back to square. So earlier I said, imagine the backs of your shoulder blades touching the wall behind you. Similar here, but not your pelvis, right? Your hips are moving in one direction. This right knee is right on top of the right ankle. So bring your hands to your shoulders, let the elbows poke out, get nice and tall. Lift your right hip up a little bit. Imagine your sit bones were level to the floor. And now open the arms out to heart high and just radiate out here. Look out over your right fingertips and exhale, bend your right knee. So here we are. So now this is the test, right? This is the first one. Are you too wide? Are you too close? Look down at your right knee. Is it rolling in toward the big toe, or is it tracking right over that ankle? Now let's straighten the leg and lift the arms up to mountain pose. Keep reaching up. Take your left hand down outside your left thigh, and we'll come into our windswept, our nice straight leg windswept for a moment. And then bend the right knee just a little bit. Here we go. And then straighten that front leg. Two arms reach up to the sky. And when the arms open to heart high now, once again, we'll bend the right knee. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And we're going to stay in it. So your pelvis is center, right over the pose, right? So your front knee is bent, your back leg is nice and straight. Find equal balance between your legs. Equal balance, beautiful. Another breath, another breath. So to preserve your back and your sacrum, let this hip come forward a little bit. You feel that? Okay. Yeah, it's probably a little easier, less painful. Yeah. Now drop your tail. Yeah, that's it. And now you just sucked up your pelvic floor and you can be in it for the next 20 minutes. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, straighten that front leg, lift the arms up overhead. Let your left arm drop down and come into your windswept. So now we're going to go a little bit deeper because we've done it before. So let that right hip lift up. You can even look up toward that bicep and bend your right knee deeply. Keep pressing through that back leg. Now we're going to come out of it a little bit different. So you're going to stay in it. Keep your front knee bent. You're in your side bend. Come up to neutral, arms reach to heart high. And now take this left arm and swing it forward. Come onto the ball of your left foot. And we're in a lunge here. And then from this lunge, we're going to inch that back foot forward. Lift up your torso, bring your hands onto your right thigh and look forward. So the hips are going in the direction of that front foot. And now we're going to float that back leg. Virabhadrasana 3. You can bring the arms overhead if you choose. Another breath. Another breath. And just like we did with our Vira 1, let's step that back foot forward and come to stand. Wow. Whew, that was strong. You okay? Great. All right. Any questions? Everybody good at home? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to try to replicate that on the other side. So keep looking in the direction, everybody in the room away from the windows, right? If you guys want to keep looking at the camera, you're just going to turn your feet. We're going to lift the right heel, open that right heel out a little bit. Remember, you have a nice distance here. Swivel your left toes toward the left. There is a relationship between your left heel and your right inner leg. Your right hip, remember, is closing toward the left, but we're not tipping. We're not going into triangle pose. We're just leveling the pelvis. Fingertips on the shoulders to open the chest. Keep drawing the belly and drop your tail. Imagine you have that string on your pubic bone. Arms open to heart high. Look out over your left fingertips and bend the knee and look down and make sure that knee is tracking. Maybe you need to get a little bit wider, a little bit closer. You decide. And then inhale, straighten on up. Arms reach overhead. Right hand comes down, left arm arcs. So keep lifting that left hip now. Lift it up a little bit more. You can look up. Now, lift your arm up, and we'll do the bent knee in a moment. And then exhale, we're gonna come back up into Virabhadrasana 2, looking out over that left knee. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, gather the arms again. Right hand drops down, left arm reaches, go into your side bend, and now we bend that left knee. So you're not looking at the knee, but you need to feel, beautiful, Shelley, if that knee is tracking over the ankle. And then inhale, come up to Virabhadrasana 2, and we're going to settle in the spirit 2. Turn your toes out just a little bit more, and then let this knee bend and let it open over the ankle. There you go. Now, interesting, your toes are turned out a little bit, so you want to turn them in. That's it. Breathe in, breathe out. Another breath. Another breath. Gorgeous, serious, really beautiful. Okay, we're going to cartwheel. Take that right arm, cross it over. You're in your lunge. Now, in this lunge, right here and right now, we just reset your pelvis to neutral. Everything is going forward. Now, walk your back foot in 4, 5, 6, 10 inches, and then come up a little bit, bring your hands onto your left thigh, and start to float that right leg off the floor. As it's floating, think about the right hip pointer facing the floor. That's it. Let me see you. Beautiful. Marion, whatever you just reached for in front was perfect. Yep. A little bit more. Aline, you can do it. You can do it. Another breath. And step that back foot up. Stand on it. And release. Beautiful, everybody. Oh, hello. Facing the other way. And you don't want to look at it. That was lovely. That was really lovely. Somebody said sitting, right? Okay, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. I promise. I want to do Vera 3 again. For folks at home, because you have it, I see your rooms. If you have a chair or a bureau or something, and you can put your hands on something, go, do that for yourself. So, because I want to see, at home especially, I wasn't seeing that back leg lifting enough, right? There's a little hesitation. I was seeing pretty much universally in the room a little of this, right? So in order to do Vera 3, we need to really lift that leg and extend. So your leg is going forward, back, your torso is coming forward. The standing leg is really lifting and supporting you. Say it again. You have to have that oppositional pull. You'll see the oppositional pull in order to maintain it. So if this back leg is heavy, there's no way to find it, right? So you really have to, it's like you're flying in space. And it's risky because in order to find the balance, you need to come forward. In order to come forward, you're thinking, hey, vey, I'm going to fall on my punum, right? My face. God forbid. You'll catch yourself. Or put a chair or a stool or something, okay? Or what? Or blocks. Who's teaching the class? Shelley, next week. I'm taking a vacation day, my love. Hey. So another opportunity. So that's what I love about the thigh, because you can really press down into the thigh and give yourself permission to kind of move forward. Arms overhead is more challenging. It's a lot more weight to hold, but blocks, beautiful, right? So you can really feel the security of the earth beneath your hands and your foot, and then you can really extend that back leg back. So Virabhadrasana 3, after we do this on each side, we will sit down. Okay, so which side do you want to step back with? Right? So lift your right knee, step that leg back, bend your, we're going to do the whole thing? No, we're just coming into Vera 3. So put your hands on blocks, bend your front knee, Go forward. Again, if you're home and you have something to lean on. So if you want to get that hip down, Noah, bend your standing knee to start. Now square your hips here and then start to lengthen out a little bit more. And then eventually that leg will get straight. Okay? That's beautiful. So full permission, everybody, to keep your standing knee bent. Okay? Get the level pelvis, get the long extended leg behind you, and then eventually you'll straighten that front leg. Let's do the other side. So Aline, having something to lean on is like doing that muscle memory for you. It's giving you the ability to feel the fullness of the pose. And then what happens eventually is you take all of your fingers except for 2 off of whatever you're supporting, right? And then you start to feel the power of this pose within you. That's beautiful. Go, Steve, go. That's incredible, Steve. That's amazing. Breathe in, breathe out. Sorry, I didn't want to throw you out of your pose, but I had to make a comment, sir. That was amazing. Good, Joan. Look at you, Joan. You're really flying here. What I love about what Joan is doing is her arms are really like an airplane, right? And that kind of tames some of the wobbliness. So if you're feeling a little out of balance, right? Maybe you don't want to put your hands on a block or a chair, then put your arms out to airplane, right? That makes such a big difference. Okay, do we have to do it again with the airplane arms? Okay, we'll do it again with the airplane arms. And then we're gonna sit down. So see if that changes it for you. Okay, which leg you're going back with? Whichever one, it doesn't matter, you're gonna do both. Yep, keep dropping that hip down. Gorgeous, I love that. Good, keep going forward. Bring your heart forward. Go, Kim, go. Primo. Maria, you could have been in that for 20 minutes, as well as you, Miss Tito. All right, if you're doing your other side, go ahead. Try to drop that hip. As Marta said before, we really feel the difference between the left and right sides here. Another breath. Good. I love how you got into that, Rebecca. You're really flying into it. Nice. And let it come down. Okay. So we're going to come down to sit, but you're not going to just plop down. You're going to do a little choreography for yourself. All right. I'll plop down. If that's part, if your choreography is plopping, go for it. All right. So how are you going to get down onto your seat? Let me watch. All right. Well, we see Shelly doing Malasana. We see everybody doing a Malasana. We see Judith doing knee over knee pose. Uttanasana. That was cute. You saved your tailbone by not plopping down. Good. And now we're on our seat. So when we sit, we have a whole new relationship to our hips and our hamstrings, perhaps. So sitting on a little lift can go a long way. I'm going to take one block. Ready? Oh, well, that didn't go over too well. Ready? I'll do it that way. Uh-oh. One more block. Ready? Okay. So no, we're going to follow Shelly. Now lift the, yeah, okay, throw it to me. Oh, so this is the block that Toby ate. Okay. We're bringing Toby into the room a lot today. You can take the block the long height way. Doesn't matter if it's a thin block or a thick block. And it's going to be probably between your calves at this point. If we were starting out earlier in class, it would be up by the knees or thighs, but we've been stretched, okay? Now, we're going to bring the block between the calves. Sit up nice and tall. We're going to come into a forward bend, but we're not going to come into a forward bend from a dog tilt. We're going to come in from a little bit of a cat tilt. So you want to draw your belly in, bring your sacrum back just a little bit, so your lower part of your body. Now, I'm kind of really exaggerating here, and you can see the upper part of my body starting to round. I don't want that. So I'm going to maintain the lower curve and start to grow from the upper back. And then we're going to walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, walk forward. Now, some of you might need a second block and try to put your forehead on the block. You can walk it in a little bit closer to you. You can put another block on top or a blanket. And we're just going to rest here in a supported Paschimottanasana. So the inner legs are kind of hugging the block, right? So the toes are pointed up. Beautiful. Nice. And this is a passive active forward bend. Passive in the sense that you have the support of the block. Just opening that back body. So rather than counting time in this pose, take 6 more full, complete breaths in and 6 more full, complete breaths out. Stay very engaged. Feel the backs of the thighs pressing to the floor, the navel in toward the spine. Forehead go. Nice. It's okay if your forehead doesn't touch the block. When you've finished your 6th exhale, you'll take in another breath in, and then on that exhalation, you'll slowly unfurl. Now you could either hinge up actually or round up, but keep using your belly as you come up. Yeah, good. And just pause and feel. Let your legs go. Is that okay on your back? Well, okay. So give a moment to recover from it. So just feel it, right? Okay. Then we'll move the blocks out of the way and come to Sukhasana for a moment and have your right shin in front. So have your right shin in front for this Sukhasana, easy pose, okay? Sit up nice and tall, grow up tall, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel. Now we're gonna lean back and we're gonna lift the feet. So we're gonna come back to our first starting pose, Navasana. So draw your navel in toward the spine. And we're doing this, right, as a way to forget that back, right? So we're engaging the core, lifting the pelvic floor. This is like a little recovery pose from that deep forward bend. Another breath. Good. Keep bringing your chest toward the thighs. Okay, now let your legs come down, keeping that right shin in front to start. Now we're gonna let that right leg open out. So we're pretty wide. So what's happening with that left heel? The left heel is kind of in front of your pubic bone. Depending on your knees and your hips, you can bring it in close or have it a little bit forward, right? Now we take the block, or not, some of you won't need the block, and we bring it inside that right leg. Hinge forward, and then start to tip and bring your forearm onto that block, palm up toward the ceiling. Now, you might not need the block if you can put your forearm down on the floor. Now, if you can, reach for your right big toe. If you can't, you can't. Maybe you reach for the heel. Take your left hand onto your left thigh, press down a little bit, and look up over that left shoulder toward the ceiling. So another really deep side bend. And then lift the left arm up. So you'll probably feel it there, Lori, in that QL, right? But easy does it, right? So on your next breath, if you can, if you're that person, reach over for that right foot. Now, good possibility that you can keep going, Kim, and maybe touch it. So even if you have to come forward a little bit, collapse down to grab the foot, and now rotate back into it. Easy does it. Bring that left shoulder back, or not is a good option. Beautiful. So Noah, keep bringing your right rib cage. That's it, opening your back. Beautiful, Donna. All four of you, incredible. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Now, to come out of it, you really need to lift the pelvic floor and shore up that lower back and hinge back out. Om Namah Shivaya. Whew. Okay. So let's open the left leg out and close that right knee in. So let me just show you a couple of things that I did see around the room. And, you know, I don't want to overcorrect everybody all the time, but this touching the toes is like the finishing touch, so to speak, right? The majority of us will not be able to do it. So, but what I'm seeing is a lot of folks just kind of hanging out here just to get that toe, right? But what we really want is this spine, right? This spine touching that toe. So I'd rather you be here and not touch the toe than be here and disengage, okay? So that's all that was the main observation. So if you need the block, it comes on the inside of that left leg. I like to pitch forward and then tip, right? And then this arm comes up, we look up, we bring our chest back so the left ribs are moving forward. And then your arm can just stay there if that feels good to you and you're getting a good stretch through that whole right side. But if you can reach that right arm over for the left toes, you got it, Shelley. Beautiful. And then the work, very different, Maria. Then the work is to bring the ribs that are facing down forward and the other ribs back a little bit. Nice. Keep breathing. Beautiful at home, everybody. Nice. So we have this rolling in, but we know that, right? That's what it wants to do. So we're going to say, no, don't do that. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Gorgeous. This is so different, right? So this is another, you know, two sides so different for folks. Keep breathing, another breath. One more second. One more second. I got you. You good? All right. And find your way out. You could either hinge up or spill forward and then come up. And then let both legs open out into a big V. Stretch out through your heels. So whoever requested sitting, I hope this is what you had in mind. We'll see. I grew up nice and tall. Reach out through your heels. So you're in a big V, okay? You can take your block or blocks again. We're gonna draw that navel in and then hinge forward and reach your forearms down and then maybe your head down, and you're gonna keep reaching out. So what's gonna happen is that the inner thighs are gonna wanna roll in, right? That's right. So we're gonna work to roll those inner thighs back. So it might even mean maybe bringing your legs in a little bit closer that they don't have to be open so far out. Okay, good. And there you go. Now you're drawing your belly in toward the spine and you're lengthening your rib cage, your heart space forward. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, one way to give yourself a self-adjustment from here is to take your thumbs on your upper thighs and press them back and out a little bit. So move these thighs back a little bit, those quadricep muscles, as you lengthen forward, just a drop more. And now inhale, hinge back up. Take your hands underneath your knees. It's a good thing I'm not a mind reader because I don't want to know what's going on with those faces. And yeah, and whoever's doing this at home, we're going to do this at home too. We're going to just give ourselves a nice big hug. Drop your head down toward the knees. Good. Now, I'm sure somebody earlier in their mind was saying, lie down, lie down, lie down. Now's that time. So find your way as you slowly come onto your backs. Don't have your blankets under your head yet, unless you really have to. We'll do a few bridges. Have your blocks. We're going to do supported shoulder stand. Anybody? Everybody has blocks? Anybody need a thick block? Okay. Rebecca, let's switch blocks because this is a little thicker. It'll get you up a little bit higher. Okay, good. So bring your feet onto the floor. Arms down by your sides. We're not going to put the blocks in yet. We're going to that'll be on the side because I just want to do some bridging first, Shell. Okay, we were standing earlier doing our Virabhadrasana 1, maybe doing something else seated, and I said, okay, pin the backs of your shoulder blades, pin your shoulder blades because they are on your back to the wall behind you. Now I'm going to say, snuggle your shoulders underneath you and pin the backs of your shoulders to the floor. Now, when you do this, you'll feel a little rise of your breastbone, of your heart space toward the ceiling, which is good. Now, notice your feet on the floor. They want to be impeccable here. They want to be reaching toes down on the ground, really spreading parallel. And now, with all of these conditions in place, you're going to start to press up into Setu Bandhasana, the bridge pose. So press into your feet, send your shins forward, lift your pubic bone and belly up toward the ceiling, bring your breastbone towards your chin, lift your chin away from the chest. Now, when you're here, you might feel, ooh, I'm a little stuck. You might want to snuggle those shoulder blades underneath you. You can walk them under, beautiful, no, a good adjustment. Maybe you feel like you don't have your feet to support you, so you can walk each foot back in closer to you and then let your hips come up again. A big, beautiful arcing, really great for the back. Opening that front body. Another breath. And now lift your heels, come onto your tippy toes, lift your heels, lift your pelvis a little bit higher, go, go, go. And then very slowly from your upper vertebra, each one will come down individually until you get your lower back and your hips down on the ground. Good. And then once you're here, let your knees open and let the soles of the feet come together just to feel the release, those inner thighs. Nice. Okay, we're going to do one more bridge pose. So with your next breath, bring your feet back onto the floor. And again, like I said, impeccable 2 feet down, really grounding. And then with your next breath, find your way up to Setu Bandhasana, the bridge pose. So all those adjustments, the shoulders underneath you, the feet parallel, the shins moving forward, the tail moving toward the back of those knees. Breathe in, breathe out. Another breath. And now take one hand and find your block and set that block right underneath your sacrum, right underneath your hips. It wants to be on the bones, not on the flesh. It could be the low way or the medium way. Let your hips rest. And now let the knees come up and float your legs up toward the ceiling in your supported shoulder stand. So hopefully you know this. And if you need to look, Shelly's in a beautiful pose. Have your ankles right over your hips. You may start to notice a little challenge with the breath. If that's the case, then you want to kind of soften in the pose a little bit. You can bend your knees and come back into it. Good. Yeah. Breathe in, breathe out. Another engagement of your core muscles, your abdomen. Does this feel good to you? This is good. Breathe in, breathe out. This will just get that core a little bit more. Yeah. Gorgeous. Must be a yoga teacher. Wow. Beautiful. Nice. We'll do about another 30 seconds here, but if you need a little break, take it. If you can challenge yourself in it a little bit more, go for it. Now let your knees bend, feet hover just a bit, and then let your feet touch down onto the earth. Keep the blocks where they are for a moment. Bridge pose, we're in a supported bridge now, is a good balance for shoulder stand. And then when you're ready, press into your feet, lift your hips, take your block out and let your hips come down. And then we're going to start to settle in for Shavasana. So you might be ready to just drop down and go into it, but you might need a little twisting, a little support here. So do what you need to do as you start to settle. Breathe in, breathe out. Done a lot of really great work today. I found it very fun and energizing. But we come to this place of Shavasana, which is kind of serious and meaningful, right? It's this time that we give ourselves for recovery, for settling, for allowing and not doing, and knowing that not doing is enough. You feel your breath. It's a quick Shavasana, but hopefully potent. And with each breath, start to move in any way that feels right. Rolling off onto one side and then coming on up to your seated position. So take your time, find your blankets to sit on. And just like when we began, we sat, we settled, we noticed, we breathed. We do the same here. We notice the transformation from when we first began. Maybe the breath's a little easier, a little fuller. Now, in these really challenging times that we're living in, this world is crazy. We can always find a way to make a little room for some joy. So right now, before we Om and end class, imagine what that thing is that always brings you a little joy. Maybe it's a person, a place, a thing. And let the vision of that joyfulness grow within you. Right? That little crack of light that we can always find and let in, even during the darkest times. And as we seal our practice with the sound of Om, let's magnify that joyness in the Om. So taking a breath. Om. Namaste, everybody. Namaste. Now I'm going to share something that brings a lot of joy into my life. And here he is, Mr. T. Hey, Toby, stay in front of the camera. There he goes. I'll bring him in front of the camera, guys.
Hi.
Come on. And that's Betsy. So here's Mr. Toby. Yeah, when we were Zooming at home, Toby was in every class pretty much, so we wanted to bring him back. Anyway, thanks everybody. I'm going to end the recording and then we'll say goodbye.